Are you confused about the Jesse tree and how to use it with your young family? Well, watch this video and I'll not only answer all of those questions, but also finally give you a good reason for doing the Jesse tree. And just a hint, it's a lot more important than just memorizing all of those old guys from the Old Testament. Hi, I'm Nancy from Catholic Sprouts. For real and meaningful ideas for Catholic parents active in the work of raising saints, please consider subscribing to this channel. And when you do, don't forget to hit the little bell so that you are notified when I post a new video with new ideas and new content every Tuesday. It has been my joy to help literally thousands of Catholic mothers understand the Jesse tree better. And by the end of this video, I hope that I not only have cleared up all of your questions, but I also have you convinced that the Jesse tree is one of the most powerful and beautiful ways to spend Advent, especially while in the work of raising young children. So let's dive into it, shall we? First of all, what is the Jesse tree? Well, you probably know the basic idea of the Jesse tree. Most families use the Jesse tree as a bit of an Advent countdown. You assign one character from the Old Testament to each day of Advent. Then each day of Advent, you look at that character, you read about them from the Bible. You oftentimes discuss a symbol associated with that character, hang an ornament on the tree, or place a little symbol on a countdown that you have going. And as you work your way through the characters, you work your way all the way up to Jesus. Because, of course, the characters begin with Adam and end with Jesus. So the Jesse tree is a look at the ancestors of Jesus, all of those people in the Israelite nation that came before him. The name, the Jesse tree, comes from the book of Isaiah. And I'm not going to quote it exactly, but Isaiah prophesied that the Messiah would come from the family tree of Jesse. Now, Jesse happens to be the father of King David, and we all know that that's exactly what happened. Jesus was from the Masonic line, and that David was one of his ancestors. Therefore, both Jesse and David, people that came before him and people that came after them, are included in the Jesse tree. So anyone can do the Jesse tree. Sure, there are lots of resources and materials that you can purchase to use, but all that you really need are a list of characters, a Bible, and a symbol to go with each character. So it does take some thinking. And so to help you get started, if you are interested in doing the Jesse tree with your family this year, I have put together a quick start guide. It's completely free. It's a quick download. There's a link to that download in the notes for this video. Just scroll down a little bit, click sign up, and it will land in your inbox immediately. And to use that, all you need literally is a Bible and Advent. It's very simple, and that is what the Jesse tree is intended to be. It's intended to be simple. It's intended to be something that anyone can do as long as you have a Bible. Now, there is a little bit of a problem with this, especially when we talk about raising young families. Now, here has been my experience as a mother who has done the Jesse tree many years in a row. Now, you start out good. You start out talking about Adam and Noah and even Joseph and his amazing colorful coat, and that's all good. But then you turn into week 2, week 3, and the characters become a little bit more obscure. You're oftentimes reading from books that even as an adult, you might not have even known existed. And the verses become a little bit heavy, a little bit confusing, and even the storyline for the Israelites becomes a little bit of a drag. I mean, They were exiled to various places for long periods of time, and they just never really learn. God keeps telling them, obey my commandments, and they just don't seem to do it. So it gets to be, unfortunately, a little bit of a drag, especially if you're not a biblical scholar, if you don't know all the connections, if you don't already know who begot who and what happened when, like I don't. I'm a mom. I am not a theology scholar, and although I've taken many Bible studies, I haven't retained enough to know all the answers to these questions. Put on top of that, how busy December is. There's concerts, it's dark, and it's hard to keep going with this daily devotional. And so I have to be honest, the last couple years, I personally have had a love-hate relationship with the Jesse tree. I love liturgical activities. I love sitting down and doing something every single day with my family. But those later weeks became a drag. So take a moment for me, friends. I want you to go down in the comments below this video and tell me what your experience with the Jesse tree has been. If you've ever done the Jesse tree before, have you ever experienced this sort of midway through drag, the resistance to keep going, and dare I say, the boredom? Well, if you have, you're not alone, but I want you to stick with me because I've done a lot of work and a lot of prayer and a lot of reading on this. And I feel like I finally understand not only how to do the Jesse tree better, but why we need to push through and why this is, like I said, literally the best way that you can spend Advent with your young family. So here we go. The most important thing that I want you to get out of this video is that the Jesse tree is not about memorizing all those old guys from the Old Testament. In a bigger way, it's not even about reading the Bible more or understanding the literary structure more. Those are all secondary. Sure, those can be beautiful and wonderful things, but compared to the real purpose of the Jesse tree, they're pretty empty. So here it is. The Jesse tree is not about knowing Bible facts. It is about coming to know, understand, and love God the Father. That is simply it. The Jesse tree is not about Jesse. It is not about Abraham or Adam. It is not about them. It is about God the Father. Now, it can be really hard to understand God, even as an adult. And imagine how much harder it is even for a child. Sure, we can really interact with and understand Jesus through the Gospels. We can see him speaking and doing and healing, and he was human. There's so much more about him that we just get. But God the Father, of course, is different. Sure, he appeared in the burning bush, he spoke through various prophets, but it's always a little bit more abstract and just harder to understand. And you know what? We're not the only ones that feel that way. That is most likely how the Israelites felt too. So God worked on their hearts for hundreds upon hundreds of years to not only form them into the people that he needed them to be before he could send the Messiah, but also to work on their hearts so that they could know him, understand him, and love him. And that is not only something that God wants for the Israelite people, it's something that he wants for us too. And this is the point of Advent. If we are going to truly prepare for the coming of Christ at Christmas, then we not only need to get the decorations up and get the shopping done. In fact, that pales in comparison to what we do with the Jesse tree. We need to spend time investing in and getting to know God. That is the point of Advent, and that is the beauty of the Jesse tree. A lot of times we can spend Advent really focusing on baby Jesus, focusing on Mary's experience. These are completely beautiful and wonderful things. But we do that a lot throughout the liturgical year. It's easy to relate to Mary. It's easy to relate to and understand Jesus. But when do we spend time trying to understand God the Father? And we can only understand God the Father when we see him working through these men and women in the Old Testament. See what he revealed through this prophet. See how he dealt with the people after they wandered away from him again. See how he answered prayers and how he never abandoned them. These are the lessons of the Old Testament, and these are the things that we need to have cemented in our hearts before we are ready to welcome Jesus at Christmas. So this is an ongoing process. Even as an adult, every year when I do the Jesse tree, I learn so much. I oftentimes think I learn more than my kids do because these are ongoing lessons. Just like the Israelites needed to learn things again and again and again, so do we. So for this reason, I encourage you to consider to use the Jesse tree with your family. Now, of course, you can't cover the whole Old Testament. You can't go into all of the background. I mean, we just don't have time. That's why it's beautiful to do the Jesse tree every year. And in case you don't know, I offer a daily podcast for Catholic kids. Yes, daily, but don't worry, it's only 5 minutes long. It's called Catholic Sprouts, and you can find it on any channel where you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts or Google Play, or even right here on YouTube. I will include the links to this podcast in the notes below this video. I encourage you to tune in, especially during Advent. I'm using this time to add more to your Jesse tree experience, to tell you more about these characters, to connect the stories a little bit more, to talk about the larger situation, things that you might not be able to go into each night with the Jesse tree. So my hope is that your evening devotional with your family can start the conversation. We can continue it on with the Catholic Sprouts podcast, and this will just ignite your children's minds as they really explore who is God, what does he want for me, and what can I learn from all of these important stories from the Old Testament. So now that you know why so many families and classrooms use the Jesse tree each Advent, I challenge you to consider doing the same for your own little group of growing saints. Consider using the Jesse tree in your home, and remember, if you are starting from zero and you just need some help getting started, I have a quick start guide PDF all ready for you. Just scroll down, find the link below this video, sign up, and you'll find it in your inbox. Also, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to connect with other Catholic parents also in the work of raising saints, I encourage you to join an exclusive Facebook group that I run called Catholic Sprouts. In there, we share ideas, we support each other, and we revel in the beauty of our Catholic faith. And finally, if you like this video, please consider subscribing to this channel, liking this video, and taking a moment to comment. I feel like conversation is one of the best ways that we can support each other and share what has worked with our own families. So please take a minute and comment below this video what your experience with the Jesse tree has been. What did you add to it? What did you struggle with it? Let's help each other. And what was a beautiful thing that happened because you did the Jesse tree during Advent? Thanks again for being here. Once again, I'm Nancy from Catholic Sprouts. I will be back soon with another video. But until then, my friends, I encourage you to join me in the hard but good and fruitful work of doing small things with great love. I'll see you soon.